This is News 8 at 6.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for News 8 at 6. I'm Catherine Bauer in for Luke Clary tonight. We've had some sweltering hot days this week, but the heat and humidity are finally on the way out tonight thanks to some potential storms. Storm Track 8 meteorologist Andrew Stutzky is in the Weather Center with a first check of your forecast. Hi, Andrew.
Good evening, Catherine. And the heat and humidity has certainly been a big factor for much of the weekend thus far, but it looks like some relief is already moving in, as I'm tracking a round of showers and storms that earlier produced some severe thunderstorm warnings north of the Quad Cities. But what they've done is put out this outflow boundary or area of rain-cooled air that has really done a number on cutting this heat down. Look how quickly temperatures fell in Clinton from low 90s, now sitting in low 80s, and we're hitting the 80s ourselves right here in the Quad Cities. So far, this part of the boundary has been quiet, but look off to the west, a new round of severe thunderstorms taking aim on parts of southeast Iowa. For that reason, a severe thunderstorm watch has been issued now for all of southeast Iowa, just west of the immediate Quad Cities. This will go until 10 o'clock this evening, and it's once we get towards 8, 9 o'clock, I think most of us will start to see some new storm development, some of which is likely going to contain some gusty winds and perhaps even some hail. But more importantly, I'll time out when the storms will get out of here for the rest of your weekend and when we'll continue the comfortable conditions. It's coming up in your accurate forecast.
New at 6, a Monmouth man is in a hospital after barricading himself inside a house and setting it on fire. Police were called around noon today to Brian Sage's home on 2nd Avenue in Monmouth after Sage set it on fire while blocked inside. Police say they got him out of the house and took him to the hospital for evaluation. Monmouth, Cameron, and Kirkwood fire departments put the fire out before it could spread throughout the whole house. Police continue to investigate the situation, and there are no charges at this time. Quad citizens got the opportunity to browse different careers in the building and construction trades today. Local Union 25 hosted an organized labor career fair at the Church of Peace United Church in Rock Island. There were more than 5 union booths at the fair, all offering a paid apprenticeship position so you can learn the trade while making a livable wage.
I've been looking at the community around me and seeing that there's people that are hungry, people that want work, people that are willing to work, people that are walking all the way down to XPAC, from this community every single day. And I said, let's bring this message of the union to those people.
The union will host another fair on September 7th at the Martin Luther King Center in Rock Island. One Port Byron nonprofit is raising money for a new home after losing its storefront back in March. Today, Ann's Helping Hands had a community benefit with bingo, raffle, games, and a dunk tank, all to raise money for a new building. The nonprofit moved out of its old location in March after its lease wasn't renewed. Ann's Helping Hands provides gently used clothing and household items to those in need, and it now runs out of the First United Methodist Church in Port Byron, where a new location is being built. They now need more than $150,000 for construction.
And there's so many people still that fall into that income level that they need help. They need help with school supplies, they need help with clothing, with furniture.
Ann says she hopes to break ground by fall. They are hosting a yard sale fundraiser on August 20th at the First Methodist Church in Port Byron. Celebrations are going on across the country to mark the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 mission, when Neil Armstrong became the first man to walk on the moon. Here's ABC's Maggie Rulli from the Johnson Space Center in Houston.
Tonight, the entire country is counting down in astronaut Neil Armstrong's hometown and in Cape Canaveral, Florida, where Vice President Pence greeted the 2 surviving members of the mission.
Apollo 11 is the only event in the 20th century that stands a chance of being widely remembered in the 30th century.
At the home of Apollo Mission Control, the Johnson Space Center just outside Houston. Thousands celebrating a monumental moment from 50 years ago.
The Eagle has landed.
July 20th, 1969. 600 million people around the world were watching on television.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
And that moment was made possible in large part because of the men and women sitting in this room. This is the new fully restored Mission Control from Apollo 11, and everything is exactly as it was on that day. It took 400,000 people working on everything from the spacecraft to computers to spacesuits.
Capcom or stay for T1.
That's Flight Director Gene Kranz. He led the crew through those final critical moments. 5 decades later, he says it's time we keep going and prove what America is really capable of.
It really demonstrated the power of free and open society. But all of a sudden we quit. It's time for America to wake up, get moving, build the energy and passion and say, what America will, America can do.
Well, the celebration is in full swing here at Johnson Space Center. This place is more than just a party. We walked past active mission control while we were here. Now, that's the place where today's scientists are working on the next generation of space travel. And NASA says they plan on putting people back on the moon by 2024, only this time they want to keep going. They say maybe they'll make it all the way to Mars. At Johnson Space Center, I'm Maggie Rulli, ABC News.
During Apollo 11 celebrations today, Vice President Mike Pence reiterated that promise, the Trump administration's goal of sending American astronauts back to the moon in the next 5 years. A younger generation is learning about the Apollo 11 mission. Kids in the Flight Academy at the Putnam Museum in Davenport built and launched their own rockets this week. Their goal, get their rocket to fly over the moon. The kids talked a lot about the science behind flight. It's all part of commemorating the day Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin took the first steps on the moon.
The 50th anniversary of I'd say one of man's biggest achievements. And these children weren't alive during that time. They don't know about it, but we can teach them what happened. We can teach them about the technology and the science that went behind it.
The Flight Academy focuses on introducing kids to the fields of science, technology, engineering, and math. Wake Brewery in Rock Island hosted its Homebrew Festivale through the heat. Homebrewers from across Iowa and Illinois came down to give you a taste of their own creations. There were over 50 different homebrews to try, including a glitter beer and mead. Everyone who bought a ticket received 15 sample tickets and an event sample glass, but the real prize just might be all of the brewers' hard work.
Always been this really interesting communal sort of hobby that people have, some people have grown into their own businesses, and that's where the brewers of Wake started, is making their own beer in their basement.
All of the proceeds from the event are going to King's Harvest Pet Rescue No-Kill Shelter in Davenport. Coming up on News 8 at 6, Ready to Ride, a look at how RAGBRAI riders are gearing up for their 400-plus mile trek across Iowa.